Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so you need to pull it up on your phone. Make sure you can see us live.
All right.
All right, everybody. We would like to welcome you.
Baby?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. We're going to allow everybody to join. Good morning, Shanice. How are you doing? Listen, everybody, we are so excited. Welcome, first of all, to the very first episode of the VIP Morning Show. So we are so excited to have all of you here. And that's the VIP Morning Show with Steve and, well, Pasha and, well, you have to say Steve and Pasha. You guys know what I mean. So welcome to the show. And we're so excited because this is our first show. And we can cut that. And we are so excited because we have an amazing guest to kick this off that's going to talk to you this morning. So what I want you to do is the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to take a minute and share the video. For those of you that know some women out there that are looking to build their dreams, that want to know how to succeed, that want some information from this superstar, share, tag, and all that good stuff. So hold on one second. Let me pull up.
Yeah, this is going to be a great show, guys. I mean, first and foremost, just so that all of you know, our objective for this show is to give you guys value and content to just help you become the best version of yourselves. And it's our honor to do that. And I think we're passionate about making that happen for as many people as we can. So this is going to be an exciting show. And like Pasha mentioned, today's guest is awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the interesting thing, here we go. All right. Share now. Fantastic. So here's the deal, everybody. We're going to get a chance to, number one, ask this amazing superstar as many questions as you want to. But I first want to get a moment to introduce her because to many of you, you may know her from The Apprentice as a finalist on The Apprentice. Some of you may know her that here in Texas as a finalist in the Miss Texas pageant. Some of you may know her for being a best-selling author. But let me tell you what I know her best for. She's my friend. And we met several years ago at a business meeting, as a matter of fact, and we just connected and we looked at each other and said, hey, let's do something together. And we held true to that. And since that moment, several years ago, we have been in each other's lives. And, you know, sometimes you can have that friend in your life where you might not talk every day. You might not talk every week. But when you connect, it's like you never lost the connection. So I want to welcome my friend, best-selling author, former Apprentice star, all over the news and everywhere, and best-selling author, Marshawn Evans Daniels.
Thank you. Hi, good morning to the Carter family. I am probably your biggest fans and just so appreciative of both of you, the example that you set, the example you set in so many areas in your marriage, first and foremost, in your faith, in your family, and then in business. And you all really walk the walk of celebrating, championing people, and, you know, making millionaires too. It's such a great combination.
Absolutely. We're honored to have you on, Marshawn. It's going to be a great show.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So what we want everybody to do is first, before we get started, turn on your notifications. Somebody just asked, how do you hit the share button? If you go down, you'll see a little link for you to be able to share this to your feed so you can share it to your timeline, but also hit the follow button, which is the notification button. So you'll know anytime we're going live, it'll notify you. So you want to make sure that you do this. So Marshawn, I know that you have been featured on CNN, you've been featured on Fox Business, you've been featured on ESPN, and now you're here with us this morning on the VIP Morning Show. So we are happy to hear you. But you know what I want to start out by asking you is, everybody's talking about this book, first of all. Can I just start by saying that? Everybody is trending. First of all, the cover is amazing too.
Yeah. Thank you.
My question to you is, what do you mean by believe bigger? What the title is, Believe Bigger, and I know what that means, but I want you to let our audience know from your heart and from a personal perspective. What did you mean when you said believe bigger?
Yeah, well, first of all, BIG is an acronym that stands for Built in God. And I believe in this concept of Godfidence, which is operating in this crazy faith realm. And I believe that entrepreneurship is the new faith movement. And so it takes faith in what you don't see to bring things to life. And what often we do is we operate in our circumstances, our experiences, and our history, and it blocks us from our destiny. So the only way to step into your purpose, into your mission, and to maximize your life is really to believe bigger than what you've been through, right, and to believe bigger than who you even think you are, and bigger than what you've experienced, bigger than your degrees, and to operate in a frequency of elevation so that you can see beyond what other people see. And it's hardest when you're in a place of devastation. And for me, when I called my wedding off 6 days before, I'm sure we might get into that.
Yes, we will.
9 years ago, actually, I just thought about it. I knew you at that time.
Yes, I remember that.
I was engaged. Oh my gosh.
I remember that.
It just like hit me strong. Like, what a full circle moment. When it's most difficult when devastation comes into your life to believe bigger than heartbreak and even being in a place of being financially broken. So I believe the way we discover the path to our life purpose is not just by looking at passion. It's not just by looking at what we think we're good at. Sometimes it goes through the doorway of difficulty and disruption. And if we'll embrace the disruption, if we'll believe bigger, we'll step into our own promised land.
Wow. Embrace the disruption. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I love that, because what I'm hearing, and I agree with you, Marshawn, 100%, that so a lot of times I believe that people have thoughts in their minds in terms of what they would like to do, but the key word that you have as the title of your book is believe, because a lot of people may think about things that they want to happen, but truly deep within, they don't really believe that they can do it. Yeah. And I think that's what stops a lot of people from accomplishing their goals, because it's really a matter of just taking action. And so you got to have belief before you take action.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a difference between a thought and a belief, right? Yeah. We think that it's like, oh, dream bigger. Dream is really an idea. It's a stretch, but you can have a dream that you don't believe in, and you don't believe everything you think. And one of the things I say in Believe Bigger is that what you believe, you build. And out of the overflow of your belief, you're going to take action on it. And one of the things that we don't act on are the things we really don't believe for ourselves. We can talk about it for a long time. And I know you all see this in working with individuals every day, is that words are either weapons against you or tools that work and build the world for you. And it's really a byproduct of our belief. I say everything that you have in your life right now is a byproduct of your current belief system that you've built over time. And if you're not experiencing what you want, every life shift begins with a mind shift. And so belief really is the beginning of everything.
Drop that in the comments. Every life shift begins with a mind shift. Oh, that's a good one. That is so very true. So, Marshawn, I have a question for you, because there are a lot of powerhouse business women that are watching, and very successful men as well. And you said something in your book that when you were going through your challenges, and we're going to talk about that, people saw you as this brand. They saw you as Marshawn.com versus just Marshawn, the person. And a lot of us go through that. So I would love for you to share with women who are out there, they're building their business. They don't feel like they have that shoulder to lean on, but you got through it as a businesswoman, as just a person. How did you navigate those waters?
Well, let's see. So I firmly believe that, number one, I believe that my life is not my own. Mm-hmm. And when I understand that, it helps to put difficult times in perspective. But also you have to understand that your life is also not what you do. What you get to do is a gift, and especially if you love what you do. But there's something that is intrinsic about your worth and your value that has nothing to do with what you do. Right. And a lot of times as women, particularly as we are in this season, often many of us are first generation having the opportunity to do whatever we want. Right. My mom and dad had to use segregated bathrooms. My grandmothers and my great aunts, they cleaned houses for other people. And I always would think about, the chances that I had to walk the stage at Miss America or to sit in the classroom at Georgetown, that the first people to walk the stage at Miss America that were Black were not contestants. The woman in 1918 who played the role of a slave in a production number. And the first that were at Georgetown were cleaning the buildings. And so I recognized today, I was like, wow, we have this first generation opportunity. But what that does is it can get us twisted in our mind and thinking now that is who we are in terms of what we do and our accomplishments and our degrees. I talk about in Believe Bigger, also these titles that we wear as labels can become these idols that we worship. Like, this is who I am. I wear the S on my chest. Right. And that can really confuse who we are as a person. Spoiler alert for those who know, I called my wedding off. I do get remarried. I do get married, and I married an amazing man. But one of the things that my husband, Jack, says, he says, there's a difference between the gift and the girl. There's a difference between the gift and the guy. And that was a hard thing for me to understand. I think that's in part why disruption comes into our lives, is to break us up with ourselves, an outdated way of thinking, even seeing ourselves with the label of success. And so when I got that, I was like, I need to work on my spirit and my soul. Now, my faith in God, in terms of knowing who he was, and I've been a believer since I was a toddler, that even will be stretched when God is trying to tell you there's another level to you, my daughter. There's another level to you, my son, that I need you to know that what you've accomplished, what got you here, even from a faith level, will not get you there. And so it wasn't, though, about going out and getting more contracts and getting more deals and striving, pushing, pitching more. It was about rest and stillness and recalibration and pause. And this is something as women we're afraid of, because we find our self-sufficiency in our busyness, in our building. What you're afraid to let go of is what really has a hold of your heart. When you're afraid to let go of even a job. I know a lot of people anguished over it, literally sweat blood over it. And we know where we really feel our source is. And so for me, what I had to work on was the health of my spirit and my soul. And that came through rest. And I've always been not surprised, but just taken care of above. Right. Part of it, I think, lastly, is in part that we have to operate with our intuition. Right. When God says rest, it's because he's rejuvenating you for something greater. But when he says go, it's because he wants you to plant, because one day you're going to need to rest as well. And so it's really listening to what is it I'm supposed to do in this season. And through the rest is where I found out how important I was to God. And then that Godfidence enabled me to go out and build this new company as well. So it's not just in the go, it's operating in the flow as well.
You know, I love what you're saying, Marshawn. And I'll say this, you
guys got to drop some hearts for that one.
That was fantastic. Let me interject something as the only male voice amongst the three of us, is that I really do believe that everything you just shared applies to men as well. Because a lot of times, and I know you all were speaking to the ladies, but one thing I know as a guy is the pressure of what we have to do and what we need to bring to the table for that life partner, or for that gift, as you said, Marshawn, which I love that, because this is unquestionably my gift. You know, we've got a lot of pressure on what we want to be able to provide for our families. And so everything you just shared is such valuable content, such valuable information for every single person listening. And so, like Pasha said, drop some hearts, drop some comments. That was powerful stuff. And I love the fact that, you know, you said you found your gift and he found a gift in you as well. Right. And coming together, I think, you know, a lot of times people use regular math and says 1 + 1 = 2. But when it comes to finding your soulmate or finding your gift, what I have found is 1 + 1 = infinity. There's nothing that you can't accomplish when you put your heads together. So I'm happy for you. And
thank you.
Super proud of you. Super proud.
Thank you. And you know, one other thing about I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I've been there for the journey. So when I see you now, I remember all of the things that you've gone through. I've seen the transition from just even what you used to talk about to see what you've grown into. And a lot of women need to get this, because I think a lot of times when you start out, my sweetheart, that's my 13-year-old headed to school. When you start out on one path, I think some people have a fear of, if their heart tells them to go in a different direction, that they're afraid, like you said, to let go. They're concerned about what will people think. But I saw you step up to the plate and go through the pain of out loud in front of the crowd, going through what you went through with your previous relationship, telling the world about that, not wanting to be in front of the world as this unflawed individual, understanding that I want to show you what's going on in my world. And I think that helped a lot of people get through, because one of the things that you said in chapter 1, by the way, it said, I pretended like being single and alone was a good thing. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because there may be some women that are pretending anything right now. They have this facade and they're trying to figure out how to be real.
Yeah. Well, two things. The first thing you said about, living your story out loud, that's hard for a brander in a perfect picture or where you want things to look and be a certain way. And when your thought leadership is at the core of your business, it's hard to find the balance between and the wisdom in what to share, when to share. And a lot of people are sharing what they think is wisdom, but they're really wounding other people because they're not in a place of wholeness. I don't believe in living out every aspect of your personal development and growth out loud. And I didn't for a long time, actually. I hid, particularly from social media. When I was engaged before, everything was going well. I had this very successful company at the time. I was managing pro athletes in the NFL and the NBA. I was doing a lot of television commentary for CNN, Fox Business, and ESPN most regularly. I had this book out called Skirts in the Boardroom. I had just been on The Apprentice a few years prior. I'm graduated from law school. Like, everything is great. I'm getting endorsement deals with Nike and Tiffany and Company and Rolls-Royce. And my first client's the highest paid defensive end in the NFL. He had just signed a $62 million 7-year deal. So I just want to give people the context of what my life was like at that time. And I was also engaged. And because with the question, Pasha, that you've asked, I pretended like being single alone was a good thing. We can wear that as a badge, feeling like, well, I don't need a man. And we create these fable stories, these stories that we tell ourselves that really keep people away. But a lot of it can also be based on past hurt, insecurity, and adopting what I call and believe bigger, extracting a faulty belief system that we make an internal navigating system for our life. I don't need a man means that I'm going to figure out how to navigate life without, and that's the energy that I'm sending forth. So how can I ever invite somebody in? So when I didn't realize that some of that faulty thinking was what invited the person that I did invite in.
Right.
Marshawn, do you think subconsciously it was because you were protective of whether or not that right person was out there for you? Do you think that was kind of it?
Yeah, I think very much so. I think, and men can see women. They really can. They can decipher. My husband has this book about the man's handbook for choosing the right woman. And he says men can fill the whole team and they know which position to put each woman in. This is the danger of being defined by your degrees, your resume, and your successes. You may think you don't have some wounded signals going out or insecurities going out, because I was a very confident woman. But I also believed, because this is what I was told and this is what my life looked like, is that I was only my accomplishments.
Wow.
And that most people, men, women, adults, companies, people were most interested in what I could do. I didn't really meet people who cared about who I was outside of the core aspect of my family. Very few, very close friends. I always felt like I was a good person to have around, a good person to know, a good person to be in your Rolodex, a good person to help you figure out how to brand yourself or say something or do your resume or whatever it was. And that was how I lived my life since I was in junior high school and college. And so I thought that's who I was. So when I saw someone who saw me, I didn't know what that was supposed to feel like or look like. Right. And so I wanted to tell this story because people see the successful side, and even successful, ambitious, accomplished women we're still women. Right. And we do need covering. We do need love in our life. And those things are what make life really good and amazing. And so that's kind of, I wanted to have these what I also realized as a business coach, now I run the largest coaching company for women of faith in the country. And in working day in and day out with people, you see things, it's been the master class for belief. It's been the master class for what it really takes to show up in personal development. And I've seen people with less potential make more progress because of their thoughts. And one of the hangups that so many of us women is our relationships. And I discovered that it's a unique trick of the enemy to attack our hearts, because then we won't go after our mission and our destiny, our assignment. We won't believe that we're, in part, we think there's a hole that God has left us behind that he just needs us to do as opposed to be, and that we've adopted this belief system that there's not enough out there left for me, that he doesn't just love me. And so I've seen that with women, that sometimes it's our relationships that mess up our finances, that mess up our businesses, and that can mess up our minds. And I've had to own that part of the reason I went through this was so that I could see this and walk others through it. And I thought, well, I'm not even, I'm young and I'm newly married, but some things God gives us wisdom for. And I recognize that I needed to have probably a more dramatic experience in my life so other people won't have to have it so dramatic in theirs.
Wow. That's so true, because one thing is when it comes to relationships, from the moment that Steve and I met and all of our marriage, it doesn't matter what we go through in life or business, because we have each other. It makes it easier to get through, because you always have, when you have the right mate, that's how it's supposed to be. I've heard people talk about how marriage is hard and relationships are hard. Well, it's only hard when you're with the wrong person. When you're with the right person, it's not hard, because it's the best thing. Because now what starts to happen is, we talked about that 1 + 1 = infinity, because everything that you do, you have someone that's lifting you up. I tell women all the time, when they're building their dream, when you go home, the last thing you want is somebody next to you tearing it down. That's not a relationship, you know? So, but, before we go any further, I need to do this. For everybody who's listening, I want you to tag, if you know anybody in Dallas, Texas, I want you to tag them, share this with them, get them on this live, because Marshawn is going to be coming in a few days to Dallas. She's going to be in Frisco, Texas, at Barnes & Noble's doing a book signing. So I want everybody that I know to meet us at Barnes & Noble's Legacy West. And if you can give them the date and the time really quickly, Marshawn, so that everybody can know. And if you guys can do me a favor, drop it in the comments, and let us know if you're coming, because we want to see you there. We want to support her. We want to be there. Sure. We want a line all the way down the street where they cannot get in Barnes & Noble's.
We want them thinking, who is in here?
I feel like y'all are my auntie and my uncle.
That's right. We got you, girl. We got you.
Y'all are just amazing. So the event is this Sunday, May the 6th, at the Barnes & Noble Plano Legacy West. It's this new posh high-end area that Pasha picked out. Y'all, this was maybe 8 months. I don't know. This was last year. And she knew the book was coming down the pipeline. It wasn't even out yet. It wasn't even in final print yet. And I was just so humbled that she was thinking of me in that season before the book even came out and suggested this. So it's Barnes & Noble Plano Legacy West. It'll be from 3 to 5 p.m. this Sunday. I'll be talking about some principles from Believe Bigger, and I'll be signing your books. And you're going to meet a lot of amazing people there. I see certain people saying they're coming. If you're coming, bring somebody else. You never know how your life can be changed in the midst of one moment. And being in the room is being in the space with something that is bigger than you, elevates you to something that's bigger than where you are right now in your life. And what I know about me and what I know about these two individuals is that they bring together destiny and futuristic people. And when I say that, they bring together the type of people that you need to be around for your future. And that's what the intention, I believe, of my life is as well. So I know that those who show up, go up, those who will be in that space are going to get more than just a book. See, it's a cheap mentality and a lower level mentality to think about this as buying. You're not coming to buy a book. You're coming to invest in a moment in time that can change the rest of your life. And when I met, I remember the first time, there's a lot of seminars I go to. And I remember the first time I met Pasha and Steve Carter. I remember them talking. I remember, I think Pasha introduced Steve. I think you were just had been taking a little bit of time off to be at home with your kids as well.
That sounds
And
really
I
good.
remember her shoes, and I remember her talking about how when she gets home that, or when either of them would get home, either she's running to meet Steve at the door or the vice versa, and how they feel like little kids. And I remember Steve talking about the time that he was able to buy his mom a car. And I remember that. Now, I've heard a lot of presentations. I've heard a lot of talks. But there's also this futuristic connection where you meet people who give you a glimpse into your future. And that was 9 years ago. That was around the same time before I called my engagement off. So I'm so grateful to God that he put me in a room with people that I'm probably going to cry, that I would be connected to almost 10 years later. Wow.
Yeah. And now we're family.
Yes. And so we take these things for granted. We take opportunities as like, because we're complacent with our own future and our own destiny. So if you're in Dallas, be there, show up, and bring somebody else, because destiny-minded women and men are more than welcome. There's going to be a lot of fellas there as well. But destiny-minded people do not just think of themselves. They bring others to the table of plenty. And so be there, come ready to network, to meet, mix and mingle, and certainly come ready to get multiple copies. You're not going to be buying, you're going to be investing in a textbook and resource for your next level. And I look forward to giving you a hug in the process too.
That's fantastic.
I tell you what, we've got other questions, but I think we can start closing this out. But I do want to leave with.
I want to make sure they also know where they can register so you can RSVP. I'm sorry.
Yes,
you can go to believebigger.com/tour. Believebigger.com/tour.
So that means if they're not in Dallas, and because you're going to different cities, so you can also, if they're not in Dallas, they can meet you in another city. Fantastic.
Yep. Detroit's in a couple of days as well. Good. And so go, and if you're not in the city, if you're a global fan of Pasha and Carter, and Pasha and Steve, my dad's name is Carter, that you can also just tell somebody else about this and send them to the event. Some of our colleagues and friends aren't able to make it, but they've sent it to their whole list saying, hey, you don't want to miss this. So be sure to invite other people, believebigger.com/tour.
I love it. Well, listen,
awesome.
Thank you, Marshawn.
Hey, we look forward to joining
us. Thank you guys for listening to the first episode of the VIP Morning Show with Steve and Pasha. We're so excited that you tuned in. And again, guys, this is the kind of information I want you to take this and apply the information. Don't just go out there and get the book, but learn from the book and study it and take the action steps that are in there to better your life. So make sure that you share this. If you enjoyed this interview, I want you to drop a heart below, just drop some hearts below. But also, we have a question for you. We're doing this morning show and we want to know which day do you think is the best day for us to do this? So we want you to comment below: Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning.
Because it's going to be once a week. Let's make sure we clarify that. It's going to be like Monday through Friday.
That's all we got in us.
Pick one day, pick your favorite day of the week that you believe will be the best day for you to receive this information and to be a part of this show.
So drop that below. If you like Monday, put Monday morning, Tuesday morning, whatever that
could be fantastic
morning
Fridays,
is that you like. Yeah. So
terrific Thursdays.
Yes. So Marshawn, thank you so much. And I know you're about to fly here so we can connect and do lunch and have fun. And ladies that are here in Dallas and our surrounding areas, we look forward to you joining us on Sunday. We will see you there. We're going to have fun. We're going to pack it out.
Fellas, I'll be there too. So
my husband will be there
as well.
That's
and
right.
Bring your ladies.
That's right. That's right. So thanks everyone.
We'll have a man corner, and y'all all be kind of creating your own power on how to take the world.
There's always a man corner. Every time I go shopping with Pasha, the first question I ask: Where's the husband seat? Where's the husband seat? And I go sit and let her do her thing. So guys, meet me out there so I'm not the only one there.
Right. Yeah, guys.
It'll be a lot of guys there. I'm kidding. So meet me there, guys. Let's have a good time. Bring your ladies with you. And this is
your daughters. And your daughters.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm bringing my daughters. They're coming. So absolutely.
We can't thank you enough. You've actually made our very first show, we believe, one of the best. And we're honored that you're not only our family, but we're honored to call you friend, and we're super proud of you. So just keep blazing the trail, and we're going to stay connected for the rest of our lives.
Thank you. I just want to say, as your first guest, to all of those who, whatever day they pick, make sure that you stay closely connected to these trailblazers. I call them trail leaders and visionaries. And VIP victory is already in progress in their lives, and you don't need to try to figure out what to do when you have people who've already done it and who have the heart. Let me just tell you, the way that they have shown up for me is so humbling. And you don't meet people like this, that you just see them successful, but behind the scenes, they are who they are. And that's the quality, the caliber of authentic leadership we need in this season. So stay connected. Honored to be your first guest. God bless you. I love you.
Love you too. Everybody have a blessed day.